Melissa Etheridge and my back door, 11:10 the time, always coming in through the front door, and she leaves the same way. Each and every Monday we are delighted to welcome, first and foremost, a scientist with actual medical knowledge, an emergency room surgeon, and a wellness practitioner with one of the finest wellness facilities anywhere up and down the Southern California coastline. Dr. Anita Wang joins us for the conversation today. Good morning, Dr. Wang.
Good morning, thank you. Yeah, if I could just wind my clock and be here 10 minutes early, that would be ideal. 15 minutes, I can't see.
You know what?
No matter how much I actually book out extra time, somehow something gets in the way. But
it is my experience with the medical profession that you operate on a different clock than the rest of us.
It is a different clock. What can I say? We're in the know.
Were you? Yes, you are. At least you are. We'll talk about some of those that are not in the know in just a moment. But was it like this in college? Were your professors, were the people you studied under, were they also a little?
No, I mean everybody runs on time. I in my office I am on time.
Right. Of course you
definitely,
are.
I am definitely on. I don't like it. I actually had to go to a doctor's office and they were 2.5 hours late, and not barely an apology. I was like, this is ludicrous. But but no, I don't do that in my office. My patients come first, unfortunately. So.
I get it, and I absolutely harbor nothing bad about it. I get that that's the way you roll, and your patients do come first. And speaking with many of them, they are quite happy and pleased with the attention that they get. Has it been a good week for you since last week?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, I'm a little nervous because I'm enjoying the summer. We have our summer in September, August, September, October. I mean, this is my favorite. Get in the water, it's warm. I haven't had a chance to get in the water. And my fear is that because I have to send my son off to the UK, it's going to be cold there, and I get back here, summer will be over and I didn't get in the water. So that's my fear.
It's 71 degrees. The water, by the way, today is 71 degrees.
I know, I gotta get in the water now. It's just this is my favorite time.
So a lot of stuff to cover today. I'll just hit you with the first thing on the top of my list here, and that is recently there have been a lot of restrictions put on the COVID vaccine, particularly who can get it and who can't. What are you doing to make up for the slack in the road, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, vaccines are very important for public health, and that protects us, right? We unfortunately are having misinformation, confusion, chaos, and even within their directive in the CDC, they are contradicting each other. So they say that pregnancy is a condition that you can get the COVID vaccine, but yet then they are excluded on the other end. So you're unclear as to what. And now you have to get a prescription so that you can't just go get the vaccine. You have to do an extra step, get that prescription, and then you're not even sure if they'll honor that prescription. So it's just a lot of hoops, and then whether or not your insurance is going to cover. So there's just a lot of barriers to it. And I think that this is detrimental to public health and safety. So what you can do is to make sure that you are resilient. Your immune system is resilient, because we are, influenza is on the rise, COVID is on the rise, you're getting bombarded. There's asymptomatic transmission, so you don't know if somebody's sitting across from you who's asymptomatic. We're getting exposed to viruses constantly, but it's how healthy you take care of your microbiome.
So I, who have gotten every COVID shot and booster since they were first available, I'm under 65 and would have to get a prescription if I wanted my regular normal booster. I used to be able to just walk into the CVS and grab a booster.
No, you have to be 65 or older to qualify.
Right.
And if you don't have comorbidities, you don't qualify. So you can't get one. And even if your doctor writes you one, that they have to determine, depending on where your doctor stands, because it's politicized, it's not medical, what they believe in. So make sure whatever political sides that you want, because it should be about medicine, but it's not. It's about politics, unfortunately.
Right.
And
I got to wear a stupid red hat to go see a doctor, maybe, and one of those.
or you know, you have to say, so what if they know that you don't have comorbidities, may not
Right.
write you
Right.
a prescription, right? So it's could be tough. So
All right.
depends.
Well, thank you for that information. And we will talk about Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. really ruining the health of America in just a moment. Since many people, those without comorbidities, will be unable to receive the vaccine, you're talking about to take care of ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
And the microbiome, you mentioned the microbiome and that's our internal longevity engine. What exactly is the microbiome?
So it's our second genome, right? So we have our genetic makeup.
Right.
And now we believe that the microbiome, all the microbes in there, is your second genetic makeup. And it houses 70% of your immune system. So, and remember my 4 pillars of health, which is food, mood, move, and sleep or repair, or restoration, right? So food is key. So what you're feeding your microbiome will help you have a diverse, healthy microbiome that can help you fight off infections and help you feel good, have good mood, all of these things related to it. So if you're eating fast food, ultra processed food, not clean, you most likely are not feeding your gut the things that they need to help you fight off infection.
Talk to us about the importance of probiotics and prebiotics and what's the difference?
So prebiotics are things that, for example, onion, garlic, when you eat those, they actually feed the bacteria. And so then you get more of the healthy bacteria in your gut. Now, if you don't eat all those things, then you're just taking a probiotic. You're just swallowing the bacteria and hoping that it survives the gut acids and everything and you propagate it. So the people who eat the yogurts and things like that, some of those have the probiotics in there, fermented foods, kefirs, things like that. So all of those are probiotics that already have the bacteria and you're just consuming it, or you want to give the bacteria the food to help them grow and develop more healthy and diverse population.
And I on a daily basis, either, if not both, I've got either garlic or onion in all of the stuff I make. I make a chimichurri that is just out of this world that has a lot of both in it, so I'm constantly eating garlic and onion. So, all right, so that's a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
And then I read something that I need you to explain to me. Fecal microbiota transplant, or FMT. What is that, and why am I so grossed out by it?
It is kind of gross, but studying the gut microbiome, we have to study the poop, right?
Right.
So getting that sample sometimes is very difficult. But when you get a sample and it's very unhealthy, and the classic thing in conventional medicine is when you have had someone who has had multiple infections and had many different antibiotics. Well, now we have killed off. So let's just say you go to the dermatologist and they said, oh, take this antibiotic just to prevent an infection. And then you have a little runny nose and say, oh, just take this antibiotic in case you have a bacteria. And then they say, oh, you have a cough too now? Take this antibiotic for that. And then you just took a whole host of it, and then all of a sudden you have this runny, explosive diarrhea constantly. Well, now you've killed all the good bacteria in your gut, and what you have is a pathogen, which is C. difficile. And now we have to give you big guns, antibiotics, try to wipe everything out, and if that doesn't work, the last resort, the thing that we can do is a fecal transplant. We get a good candidate that has healthy bacteria in their stool,
Right.
and you have to have a good donor selection, and you either transplant it through a colonoscopy, or you do a capsule transfer, swallow it, or you do an NG tube, slide it down there, or you do freeze dried, or you do an enema. But now we have to give your gut some good bacteria, and so it's a transplant. Like getting a heart transplant,
Right.
you get a stool transplant because now you don't have it. So that is the treatment for C. difficile. So be careful about how many antibiotics that you're taking willy-nilly. I have so many people that come in, yeah, I had this thing, so I started taking this antibiotic. I'm like, oh my God. So then you can get resistance and have this one. So that's a complication. And then going over to the functional medicine side, there's a lot of studies that are coming out. So people with ulcerative colitis, there's finding some good results, maybe for some with IBS, that even in the immune compromised, looking at like MS, Parkinson's, also those things can also, even insulin resistance is showing some help with that, which basically just speaks to your microbiome, right? So if we're infusing healthy bacteria from the stool from healthy donors and resolving your insulin resistance, your metabolic syndrome, your obesity issue, your MS, your autoimmune issues, okay, that's just speaking to having a healthy gut. Right? So that depends on what you're feeding it. So you gotta know what you're feeding your gut.
So none of those methods of transfer sounds appealing. First of all, none of them. So it is best to just watch out and
keep eating your onions and your garlic, right?
Right. And I knew someone with irritable bowel syndrome, and with there seemed to be no cure or treatment or anything. They were just always miserable. This might be
this is one treatment, but I have to say that most likely they have SIBO. So a lot of times they don't look at it because they just say that, oh, they have a functional, it's emotional, whatever, but it could possibly be what we call small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So meaning they don't have the right bacteria in the right place. So I usually say what happens is, you have the good guys and the bad guys. They all live down there in the hoodlum, right? So they're all there. And then you do something and all the bad guys go, oh, I really like it here. They're feeding us all this stuff that is good for all the bad guys. And the good guys go, okay, this is just not a healthy environment for us. We're going to move north. And they move north into the small intestine. So now they're up in the small intestine where they're not supposed to be, and all the bad guys are down there in the hood where you really want everybody down there and mixing, diverse, and getting along and doing all their things together and learning from each other and the culture and taking care. But now they're separated. So now they're not doing their job. So you eat something, and the good guys are saying, well, I'm up here, I can't take care of it. You need that down there, but we're not going down there. And the bad guys are like, I don't know what to do with this. And so then you're like, oh, I'm cramping, I'm bloating, I'm having diarrhea, I'm constipated. Yeah, so it's just an imbalance, right? So you just need to get that balance back and fix that problem because they're not really looking at that.
Your analogies are beyond compare. I'm not even kidding. I perfectly understood that. I absolutely got it.
SIBO, there you go.
You should have a children's show. You should be Mrs. Science to the kids, and that way they can all
believe me, when
understand
my poor boys were going through that, why does you don't have that thing, and I got this little thing? Oh, we had lots of anatomy classes, lots of fun.
So tell us about the importance of polyphenol-rich foods.
Well, those are what's the nutrients and what's feeding your gut, right? And antioxidants. So your body has a whole system, right, which cleans out all those free radicals. So when you eat all those heavy ultra-processed foods, then you create all of these things, what we call free radicals. So these free radicals were taken up in your NFR2 system, which are 3 different antioxidants, and they neutralize that, and then you neutralize it, and then it's carried out. Well, when you eat all of those polyphenols, you're giving support to that, because they can't do it all. So it's kind of like, we'll see if this analogy works. It's kind of like the Formula One pit team, the driver. He's coming along, but he notices his tire pressure's not right. He needs to get new tires and everything. And so, internally everything's working and the system's working. So your internal antioxidants are running and it's working and everything. But I need more antioxidants. I need more support. I got to go in the pit. I got to get new tires. And the team comes in and they change it. So that's you throwing the blueberries on there and all of that stuff. That's you getting new tires, right? That's kind of like that.
Okay, it's football season. That's another touchdown. Another touchdown, Dr. Wang. and that includes berries and green tea and
Yeah.
some spices.
Right, so all your foods that you want to eat, those colorful rainbow thing foods.
All right, and then we're talking about supplements for longevity and mitochondrial support, which include NAD plus boosters. What are those?
Yeah, so, so our mitochondrion, which is the powerhouse, which runs every cell in our body, from your brain to your toes. So if you have a weak link somewhere, you really need to get that mitochondrion working well. So if that mitochondrion cannot produce the NAD, all of that to make your ATP to function, you need to, do all the foods, all the exercise to help boost that. So you can take a supplement of it. So a lot of times it's an IV. You can take some supplements of those, but like just mimicking a diet, mimicking extra, fasting, those types of things also help boost it. So all those hormesis things that I've talked about that stress the mitochondrion to work better to produce that, right? It's kind of just the same analogy, like when you're on the line, right, on the football, and you got your quarterback going, and everybody's like thinks we got it in the bag, no problem, and they're just kind of like
the Ravens last night. Yes,
yeah,
like
right. And
yeah.
they're not like totally like hyped up in sync, and the other team is like down, so they're like on point and they're in the zone and they got it, and so then they just like somehow they get the ball and they make it happen, right? And the other team is like, well, we had it in the bag, but we just let it go because we're not revved up, tuned up, high focus there, right? So it's kind of like that.
I get the feeling you're just working on these right where you walk in. I have a feeling you're just standing there.
No, I don't know.
working
You
on
give
these.
me the inspiration, because I'm not a sports person. You know that.
That is so good. Thank you very much. Now, at your facility, at your wellness facility over on Thalia, you have a body scanner to monitor.
Yeah, so I'm just going to have this new 3D scanner because, so I do impedance. So everyone uses, so the gold standard is the DEXA scan, but that's a lot of radiation, so you don't want to do it multiple times. But, getting your bone density, checking that's gold standard. So that's as accurate as you can get, but that's radiation, right? So the next one is impedance monitors. And so I think a lot of people have those. You can have them at home and everything, but then that depends on your hydration status, time of day, what you've eaten, all of this. So when you go to the gym and they use the in-body, you're not going to the gym at the same time. Your hydration status is different, so it's not. But if you use it consistently, relative comparison, you can compare from one time to another time, right? So I'm going to the next level. So I also have the impedance, which I usually monitor.
Right.
So I'll do the impedance and then we compare from one time to another. But I also know there's a huge variability. But now I have a 3D scanner that is 98% accurate. So that's close to the DEXA scan. So there's DEXA scan's 99, 100%. I'm at 98%. And people say, I don't think I see any changes. But then I do the body scanner and they're like, oh, wow, look at that. There was a little loss in this little area. Millimeter, you can see it in the difference. And that's just help people, the motivation to stay on track. And so I think the scanner is going to be very helpful for people, for their weight goals, to motivation, to lose the extra fat, to gain the muscles, keep up with the program, and maintain and see that their muscles are actually growing. And they didn't even have to go to the gym and lift a weight. They're just laid there.
Right. And there is something special or different about seeing exactly what's wrong or what's right. There's a huge difference in that, and it does make you take personal control, take personal responsibility for it. Thank you. So if we've got listeners that are ready to take these principles into practice, you're offering your Longevity Vitality membership.
Yeah, it's a membership that, so the membership actually basically goes into the devices. So if you have for Emcella, Exless, and the Neo, you can do other aesthetics things too, facials, things like that. And then also you can also use it for wellness assessment on nutrition, but all those things, labs and testing, are going to be extra. But in that membership, you can actually go what I call through the medical gym, maintain the muscles, restore your muscles, keep the pelvic muscles strong, so your gait is steady when you're walking, is steady. No incontinence, you're not getting up in the middle of the night, those types of things. Just better quality of life, basically. So the membership is really where you get a very good savings and overall. And then you can also add a general wellness. If you have more health issues, you're going to need more than just 30 minutes, because those are 30-minute visits. So you can add a wellness and have a complete overhaul and actually monitor and stay healthy.
Absolutely brilliant. And that's one of the reasons that I say that you have among the best wellness facilities anywhere up and down the Southern California coast. It's things like this, and the listeners are getting it as well. So thank you very much for chiming in. I want to turn for a moment, if I may, to something that affects women between usually the ages of 40 to 58 or so, and that's menopause.
Yep.
It's estimated that 1.3 million women enter menopause each year, and around 90% of them experience symptoms. It's a natural biological process. It's been largely overlooked, mostly because, with the exception of you, women in midlife are historically underrepresented in medicine.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that a little bit.
Well, I think men are also underrepresented because there's andropause. And I think that people don't recognize that also. But it's a whole body thing. So it's not just checking your estrogen and checking your progesterone and then giving you a synthetic form of that and then and say your choice. But before, mostly they would say, oh, you're just crazy, give you anti-anxiety medicine, antidepressant medicine, because it does affect your mood. And so you do feel a little down. But if you can be balanced, but it's a whole body thing, because it's also how your thyroid, so it's not checking just those two reproductive, because those are the ones that we're saying that are diminishing, but you still need it for cognition, for cardiovascular, for skin health, for so many different pathways, not just reproductive. So you need to check the thyroid, you need to treat the cortisol, the adrenal hormones, you need to check the reproductive hormones, all of these hormones in balance. And then you have to assess what's going on. What's your stress level? What is your diet? What is your nutrition? And a big factor is how well is your liver metabolizing estrogen. So many people will have high estrogen dominant, but it's because they have a poor diet, their liver's not functioning as well, and they're not clearing, they get these fibroids, they start having all these issues, but it's because they were never in balance to begin with. So we want it all in balance, and when you're going through that, there's many people who skate through it and say, I didn't have any problems, I didn't notice it. It's because their adrenals, which produces some of the hormones, but you're just losing from the ovaries, right? So you don't need the reproduction, so you're not going to reproduce at this point. But you still need the cognition, you still need all the cardiovascular health, you need all the bone health, all the skin. The adrenals are producing those. Now, if you are so fatigued and stressed out and your adrenals are wiped out, and your ovaries say, okay, we're done supporting you, you're on your own. They go, oh, no, I needed you because we can't do it we can't give you any. They go, sorry, we're out, we're checked out, we're out, it's up to you now. And they go, and the adrenals go, I got nothing for you. That's your big menopause problem.
So a couple of questions, and I want to get to andropause in a second because I have no clue about that. But usually women that have hysterectomies,
they still have their ovaries.
Right.
So they just can't tell when they're menstruating. So depending on how young they are, let's say if you had it in your 30s, you still have your ovaries. They're still functioning, right? They're still going to go through that at the same 45, 55, the menopause.
And I read that about 95% of women were never taught about menopause in school. Isn't it something that should be taught to young girls? There's a lot of stuff that's
well, you weren't taught about andropause.
I know. So yes, exactly. Talk to us about that.
I mean, it's the same thing. You're not going to need
same age range and everything.
Yeah, you're not going to need your reproductive, right? The same with the adrenals. Right. So you produce estrogen, you produce progesterone, you produce these things, you produce testosterone, but those levels all diminish, right? So those also need to be. So if you have fatigue, sometimes you don't have enough. I mean, I had a young gentleman who was fatigued, who couldn't figure it out, but it was because he didn't have enough testosterone. So there are things also that you have to monitor. So it happens.
So I gotta say this, that I see commercials on TV, and usually during sporting events where they're hawking some over-the-counter testosterone booster or whatever. Are those dangerous? Are they useless?
Yeah, I mean, I always think that those are dangerous, but I don't know that market. I don't know what their clearance and how quality and all of that. But I would be a little leery about that, and you want it to be monitored. You want to know what your levels are. So it's like having a gas tank, and you decide, and you don't have a gauge, and you decide you're going to put the thing in there, and you just put it full, and it just flows over. Right? Because you had no idea it was already still full, right? And you're just pumping in more, and you didn't need it. Or, it's empty, and you just put a spritz in there, and then you get in the car, and you go down, and you run out of gas, right? If you're not gauging it, and you're not monitoring it, how do you know how much you need? So, yeah, I think that part is dangerous, because they don't know what they need. They just want to take it.
And they're marketing to a very specific type of male. They're marketing into the lughead, the bully. They're marketing to that guy because at the end of the commercial, they two guys laughing, and one goes, "Well, she'll like it too." It's like, okay, I get who you're marketing to right now. Right? Let's talk about the lughead, the male with absolutely no knowledge, and that's Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, who claimed that he didn't think there have been any successes among U.S. health agencies, claiming the infiltration of pharmaceutical companies have led to a series of bad decisions. Yet the CDC has long spearheaded work in public health, both not just in the U.S. but worldwide, and that includes vaccination campaigns to fight preventable infections, helping to eradicate smallpox among the globe, and working on prevention and research efforts to stop global HIV and AIDS. And just recently fired the newly appointed head of the CDC for telling the truth.
Right.
Right. So, are you getting any? We talked months ago about the information faucet kind of closed on doctors and scientists.
Yeah, I think that the updates are slow. They come, but they're slow to come. So they're not as timely, and they don't update it as regularly. I don't really know what's going on with H1N1. I have no idea. I do know that they reported some outbreak, but it was back in December, I think, or something.
We don't have any information. We
Right.
don't know where it is.
Yeah, so I think there's more H1N1 that's happening in India, but we're not getting a lot of information. I think because he doesn't really believe in science.
It's a flat earth thing.
Yeah, the thing is, when you think about this, who is running the head of our public health? It is people who mistrust institutions, government, corporations, all of these, academia, science. So there's a mistrust. Okay, so I get it. I have a healthy skepticism at times. But you have to be knowledgeable about it, and you have to look at that, right? It's always good to have accountability, right? So it's not that these governments are just running amok. There's accountability in it. But when you have these groups that mistrust the institutions, so let's take the example of the flat earth. There are people, about 2% around globally, that believe the earth is flat. Okay?
Ridiculously unbelievable. Yes.
So, but they are 100% absolutely certain that this government is a cover-up.
The moon landing was fake.
It was fake. There's the physics, the astronomy, navigation, all that science is just concealing truth, right? And they believe that, and then they are just being following social media and things that just keep fostering and feeding them this, and so they just believe that. Now, it's a bit harmless because they're not doing too much with that. It's just anti-science against that the world is round, right? But now you take the same mindset to the anti-vaxxers. It's the exact same mindset, right? So they have no regard for immunology, epidemiology. They have the distrust of all the institutions, governments, right? And they are empowered by this alternative thinking, idealism, not science, antidotes and idealism. And that is who's running our public health. Now, this is dangerous. This is affecting, people are dying because of this. It's not just a belief. This is, they are harming the people. People are dying, there's consequences to this. And this is just based on ideology, misinformation, antidote, and no science behind it.
Anecdotal non-evidence, basically.
Right. And they just believe, and the people who follow it are following the Dunning-Kruger philosophy because they are so limited in their knowledge. They are not able to be aware of what they're not aware of or knowledgeable about.
They're not understanding how stupid they actually are.
And they don't believe experts who actually follow science and have data to prove this. So it is this phenomenon. Unfortunately, it's about 15%, depending on what around globally. So that's a larger number, larger voice, and then they're just following those little, what are those social analog reels, things that just keep feeding them those things that supports their ideology, but it's not accurate. So it's the same mindset as flat Earth people. So
the algorithms on their social media are the ones that they get fed all the time.
Right.
And when you feed someone garbage in, you get garbage out.
Right. Yeah. So it's dangerous. It's unhealthy. So it's been very upsetting because we are not protecting our people.
Well, you are protecting all of us, and not just by these conversations, but in your practice, in the many ways that your medical expertise helps people. I cannot thank you enough. I do want the audience to know where they go for a Longevity Vitality membership, how they contact you, and what they can expect when they first make that contact.
Yeah, so you can make different ways. You can call me at 949-734-0580. You could text me, or you could go online and you can book a complimentary discovery call at anitawangmd.com, and we can chat for 15 minutes about what your issues are, see if we're a good fit. Or if you want, you can come in for an in-person consult. It's a $75 deposit. And then if you decide to become a member or purchase a service, that gets applied to your service. And then if you're just like we part ways and you're not interested, we're not a good fit, I'll refund you the $75.
And again, thank you for covering so many subjects with us today. We really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see you next week.
Oh no!
Next week is not happening. That's right. You're going to the UK
I'm
to
going to drop
off
my son for the next 2 Mondays.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Unfortunately.
We'll see you when you get back. How long are you staying in the UK, by the way?
Exactly 1 week. So it happens to be also MSU's family week.
Okay.
Right? So we're going there for that, and then
From there, you're flying to the UK.
So I'll be there at the UK Monday to Monday, so that's why. So I usually try to avoid that, but I'm there Monday to Monday, so 2 Mondays.
With a notebook full of great analogies, by the way, after that. All right, so we will miss you, and we will look forward to seeing you in a couple of Mondays from now.
Yes.
And the best of luck to both your sons in
Thank
college.
you.
MSU, and what university in the UK?
Manchester University.
All right, okay, so we got to get to Manchester United or Man City
right,
jerseys.
Exactly.
One of those two. Dr. Anita Wang, if you're looking for any information, number-wise, address-wise, you can call me here at the radio station. I'll be happy to share that with you. Thank you again.
All right. This is a pleasure.
11:44 the time.
It's the soul of the human.